The Mazda CX-5 is the Japanese manufacturer's biggest selling and most important car. And now there's a new third generation model with one huge change. Today, we're in Frankfurt to see it. Now, keep watching until the end because that is when we're going to reveal the one major change with this new Mazda CX-5. But for starters, let's look at the outside of the car. And you can see the difference between the second generation CX-5 and this third generation one isn't exactly huge, but you can understand Mazda's approach with this car because it's got a big selling SUV in its lineup. And so when it comes to releasing a new model, do you really want to massively alter the ingredients that you already have? Perhaps not. So instead, this is more of a subtle modernising of what was already there. But while things might look quite similar, this is bigger in every dimension. So it's longer, it's wider, it's taller, and it's got a bigger boot. So in total, you now have 583 litres of storage, which is pretty massive. And that's 61 litres more than what the old car offered. And you can see it's not just the space that's impressive because you've got these helpful cubbies either side. You've also got virtually no loading lip at the front here. There isn't much in the way of underfloor storage, but the rear seats split fold 40-20-40, which is really helpful. And you can also throw down the rear seats using these levers from the back. In the old car, we could fit 8 carry-on size suitcases into the boot below the parcel shelf. The same number as the Honda CR-V and one more than you'll get in the back of a Qashqai. And judging by the increase in size, this could stand a chance of now matching the 9-case VW Tiguan. So the boot is bigger and it's bigger in the rear seats as well, because compared to the old car, the distance between the front and rear wheels is 115mm longer in this new CX-5 than the old one. And really, it is massive in the rear seats here. You can see with the driver's seat, in my driving position, there is loads of legroom. There's loads of space for your feet under the seat in front of you as well. Even with this sunroof, headroom is very, very good. So you would have to be well over 6 foot tall to even begin to feel cramped in here. There is a bit of a transmission tunnel between the two rear seats, but it's not that significant really. And even the cushioning of these rear seats is pretty nice and it looks and feels quite luxurious back here as well. You can also fold down this central armrest if you're not sat in the middle seat, and there's 2 cup holders there, which is handy. There's Isofix mounts, of course, and overall this is a very open and spacious place to be sat in the CX-5, and it's very impressive back here, even compared to its most practical rivals. And these rear doors open incredibly wide. Look at that. The new CX-5 sits on a modified version of the platform that the old CX-5 was on. And Mazda says, of course, that a lot of work has been put in to improve things like the suspension, the steering, and the overall refinement of this new car. And actually, given that the old CX-5 was pretty quiet inside and fairly good to drive as well, that is a good starting point for this new car to take over from. At launch, the CX-5 will come with just one engine option, and that's the 2.5 eSkyActiv-G 141. It's an engine we've already seen in the Mazda CX-30 and also the Mazda 3, and it's expected that a year into this car's life, that engine will be given a bit of an update before a year after that, we'll see a full hybrid version of the CX-5. You can't get a diesel engine with this car, and there won't be one in the future either, but the towing capacity for this petrol engine that the CX-5 gets is still up to 2,000 kilograms. If you want a Mazda this sort of size with a diesel engine, then you should probably look at the Mazda CX-60. But because this new CX-5 is bigger than before, the difference in size between those two models now really isn't much at all. The CX-60 will still be the more expensive car though. That starts at just under £47,000, and while pricing hasn't been revealed yet, it's expected this new CX-5 will be around £10,000 cheaper than that. But while the CX-5 might seem a bargain compared to the CX-60, a starting price around the £35,000 mark would be an increase over the outgoing model and would make the CX-5 more expensive than most of its family SUV rivals. But Mazda will hope buyers see enough strengths in this car to make it stand out. 3 trim levels are expected, starting with Prime Line, then Centre Line, with Exclusive Line and Homura at the top of the lineup. 17-inch alloys come as standard on the entry-level trim, but above that, you then move up to some 19-inch alloys. These are the ones that you get on the range-topping trim. The new CX-5 will come with a whole host of safety equipment, and even though testing is still some way off, the Japanese manufacturer is aiming for the full 5-star verdict from crash safety experts Euro NCAP. Now, up front in the interior, this is where you will find that one radical change that this new CX-5 has been given. And it's down here on the center console, because you will see there is no rotary dial. So previously, Mazda interiors have been known not only for their brilliant build quality, but also for their usability, because while most other rival manufacturers have touchscreen only infotainment systems, Mazda would offer a kind of hybrid setup that would let you use the touchscreen but also give you a physical rotary dial down here. The reason rotary dials are so good is because while you're driving, it's very easy to cycle through menus and make different selections on the infotainment screen using a physical dial. It's far less distracting to use that than poking and prodding at a touchscreen. And so removing that physical dial means that this is likely to be as distracting as all other touchscreen only infotainment systems. Now, of course, there is a voice command system as well, but we're yet to try a voice command system that is good enough to make up for a lack of physical controls. You'll also see on the bottom of this touchscreen here, this is where you need to adjust the temperature and the fan speed. So again, Mazda's removed the physical controls that you used to have for that and put them on the touchscreen. Now, this isn't the absolute end of the world because this panel along the bottom of the screen is permanently visible, but still, it's not as good as being able to have physical buttons and dials to make those simple adjustments. Now, the screen itself is massive. You can see this is a 15.6-inch touchscreen infotainment system. The entry-level model will have a slightly smaller 12.9-inch screen, but every CX-5 will get this fully digital driver display here. And there's also a head-up display, which is said to be bigger than ever in the CX-5. Now, in terms of what this infotainment system is like, this is a very early prototype model, so we can't have a proper play with it, but the software that it uses is derived from Google. And in lots of other Google-based infotainment systems that we've used from other manufacturers, it's always proved to be pretty effective in the way that it goes about its business. The buttons on the steering wheel have been slightly changed from the previous car as well. So whereas you used to have really plush feeling separate controls for these buttons on the wheel, now you're given these kind of wobbly slabs, which thankfully aren't touch sensitive, so you do have to press them and you get a click to let you know that you have used them, but they don't feel particularly plush, and certainly not as plush as if they were all separate buttons to use anyway. We should also point out while we're here that there is no manual gearbox available with the CX-5, so every version will get a 6-speed automatic instead. And in terms of storage, you've got this nicely positioned and padded armrest here that hides a modestly sized storage compartment there, which is carpeted on the bottom. In front of this, you've got a storage tray, you've got 2 cup holders here and another compartment ahead of that, and the door bins are a decent size as well. Now, what about build quality in here? Because that was another major strength of Mazda's. Well, it's got this very flattering 2-tone colour scheme in the CX-5 that we're sat in here, and it all looks very nice, but not all the materials feel absolutely amazing on the dashboard here. They don't feel quite as dense as they would in the previous CX-5, but this is a prototype model, as we say, so we can't draw too many conclusions, and it all still feels pretty solid, and the plastics that are around do feel like high quality plastics. So we are going to have to drive a full production ready version of the CX-5 to realise the full implications of removing the rotary dial, but on the face of it, it does seem like a shame that Mazda's gotten rid of it. Particularly because that was one area that really helped separate the Japanese manufacturer from many of the rivals that it was up against. So that is everything we know so far about the new Mazda CX-5. Thanks very much for watching this first look. If you want to make sure you see our full review of this car, then click on that link to subscribe to our channel. And then of course you'll see all of our first looks, reviews and features as well. And if you want to find out even more information on this car and read about every other car around, click on that link to go to whatcar.com.